this computer. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Legacy and Impact. It is Monday, October 9th, and super excited. Lots going on in the world. Obviously, some issues are happening with politics around the world. We're not going to discuss that. We're going to keep everybody in prayer while we stay focused on navigating the rough waters ourselves, right? And the importance of staying focused is the same thing that happens or is we're instructed to do in the event of an emergency on an airplane, right? You guys know the words, right? In the event of an emergency, an oxygen mask will drop. If you have young children, your instinct is going to be to help others. No, you put it on yourself first. And that is where everybody needs to be focusing on right now, right? There's craziness happening. I've got a clip which I had talked about last week. I want you all to hear, and now is the time for us to be really stockpiling and taking our own matters into our own hands. Now is the time to be selfish, right? And if you do that, I think that you will be okay, because there is always opportunity in the marketplace, always opportunities in the mix. And it is a privilege and an honor to spend some time with you all. One of the things that we had discussed last week was the possibility of moving this call to a different day and different time. And so, Jeff, I took your lead and had fielded a little bit of feedback from a few people. And so we're going to shift the call to Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific, which will be 8 p.m. your time, Glenn, in Central Time Zone, and 9 p.m. Eastern. So that'll make it a much easier for everybody in the mix. Again, I originally chose this time on Monday night, thinking or with the philosophy that at 9 p.m. you should be focused on yourself. Between 9 and midnight, nobody should be busy, because that's one of the challenges. We're all busy. We all have only 24 hours in our day, and so how do we spend our time? And oftentimes things are in those evening hours, whether it's events or whether it's HOA meetings or voting, or if you have children, that's when parent-teacher conferences take place. So, but we're gonna try it out at Thursday evening. Once again, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's number one. The second thing we had talked about was doing an event down here in Cancun. I am speaking with some of my business mentors and have invited them to join us. Everybody seems very, very excited. So we're just going to start locking down some dates for a combination meeting of the minds, new game plan for the new year. 2024, right? It's going to be a completely different year. And again, business as usual is not going to generate results. So we're thinking of either the second week in December, which is kind of an odd time, but it may work out really, really well for us. Again, second week in December, or the anytime after January 6th. January 5th, January 6th, so shortly after the new year. So do yourselves a favor, pencil that in on your schedules, and we're going to work on pulling it together. And it'll be most likely 4 or 5 days down here in Cancun, in the Cancun area. And I will be lining up real estate for people to see. I have my business mentors who are going to be coming in, as well as our new business. I have a new coffee business, which is extraordinary exciting. That is up and running now officially. We're in the pre-launch phase with that. It is a neurotropic which is mushroom-based coffee product, which has been going like gangbusters for everybody who tries it. I think it's an incredible product, and that's why I think it's a great opportunity for anybody who is, I'm an advocate for everybody jumping on board because money is good and there's going to be a bunch of money. The compensation plan is very, very lucrative. I'll be giving you guys a little bit more information in regards to that, but the cost to get started in the business is very low. The tax benefits are extraordinarily high. The quality of the product, and I think it's going to be very, very well received in the marketplace. So there's money to be made. And no matter what happens in next year's economy, I know people are still going to be drinking coffee. Would you agree? Everything else, I don't know. Right? So
I've got 2 cups per day.
Yeah.
Coffee is the best investment.
Well,
just got to keep it low. People will come to you every day.
Correct. Well, in the market research, they've been doing fair bit of market research, just handing out samples. 90% of the people that get a sample end up ordering the product. So this is super, super high ratio. And in the realm that we're in, the profitability, the profit margins are significant. So it's roughly 12%. And then there's distribution. You can get paid because we're at the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the group, and I'm at the very top. It's a network marketed program, but there's an opportunity for us to override pretty much the entire company as it grows. And we know that there's going to be a lot of people coming on board based on the boys that I'm working with. So, and they're the same guys that I'm doing the trusts with. So there's a lot of momentum within their operation. So they're going to come down hopefully and be a part of our event, as well as my business mentor, Mr. Byron Nelson, who is literally the mentor's mentor. And he will, if you've never experienced the training of Mr. Byron Nelson, he is personal friends with John Maxwell as well as Les Brown, and he's extraordinary. And again, he'll get in your head and change the way you think forever. And then another friend of mine, Kaya Redford, who is an NLP specialist, NLP trainer. I'm waiting to hear back from him, see if his schedule is going to allow, but see if we can't get him down. So between the dynamics, and they all know each other. Everybody that would be participating knows each other and respects each other. So I think it'll be a really, really nice dynamic. So that's what I'm looking to pull together for, again, the second week in December, more than likely the second week in January, after January 5th or 6th. So but I'm super excited to have you guys come on down to Mexico, so you can really start to see some of the opportunities, and the reason why I'm so excited about, especially if America is going to continue down a rabbit hole. Let's see what we can get set up elsewhere. Sound good? All right. And so let's talk about, well, anybody have anything exciting happen this week that you tapped into, that you learned, that you are excited about, or made some money, lost some money, heard about? Anything in the space?
Well, I was just looking at something just a little bit a few minutes ago. It's called Privacy X. It's a guy that's claiming that, because of the new laws are going to be passed, and with all the rules, and because all the conflict that's going on, they're going to be passing a lot of bills. So, being American, or even in Mexico too, they're going to know everything that you do, and they're slowly going to surely, restrict your amount of money that you can put in crypto, which would be $1,000. And then there's this way that they can actually, let me see here. You can pretty well much ghost yourself, but after looking at all the steps that you have to go, I don't know if that's reasonable about ghosting yourself completely to do crypto, even in the currency here. So, but I'm thinking about doing something like that. I do want to build the trust structure and to set it up. So I can actually, do tax deductions and stuff like that. Which I want to do the holding company, then the business trust, and then the family trust, and then I guess the third one would be a 508 A1C, which would probably be for their spiritual program to do a tax write-off.
For your nonprofit. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's, you got to think it through, put your pieces in, and know how you're going to fund each of them, and the role that each of them play. Right. So that's interesting. You had mentioned that, because a friend of mine, one of my clients, he's just set up his own nonprofit organization, or is in the process of it. We've been brainstorming a little bit from a networking perspective as well as a tax perspective. And oddly enough, he's selling traditional coffee. They're doing a drop ship program, and they've tapped into some really good stuff with good marketing. And, we're probably going to be bringing in the mushroom coffee, the neurotropic coffee, to his operation as well. But the point is that the nonprofit realm is a very, very exciting area, as long as you are passionate about what you're doing, right? Because there's no shortage of money. I was somebody sent me a statistic. As you guys know, we've got our homeless project, that over the last 4 years, $17.5 billion has been spent combating homelessness in California over the last 4 years. 17.5. And the problem is worse than ever before, right? There's so much misappropriation and just stealing, which is sad, because we literally see the problem. But I'm probably flying home the end of the week to finally get our deal going, so we can be getting people off the streets. So that's
17.5 billion. Couldn't we just build a city for them
yeah,
at that cost?
that's ultimately what we're doing. That's what we're building for 25 billion. So, but
Okay.
you can do so much more again. But the problem is, and this is a big problem, and I share this because I know you have a servant's heart as well, is oftentimes the problems is you have all these nonprofit organizations, and they're all kind of doing the same thing. And as a result, they all waste money on their own infrastructure, where if they started linking arms, like, hey, we both do the same thing, why don't we partner up, and have one accounting department as opposed to two accounting departments, because there's so much waste, administrative waste. And unfortunately, a lot of times people that are running them, they've never done it before, so they're just kind of, it's very much a labor of love, and they want to do it on their own, and they're not sure. So it's the philosophy of Chicken Little. I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but it's like she says, I'll just do it myself. I'll do it myself. And that's, as a producer and as entrepreneurs, that's oftentimes the attitude that we take. Hell, screw it, I'll just do it myself. And as a result, it's not the best for an organization or the way things run. So, but hopefully, again, I think that it's going to be an extraordinary year, and I think that by putting the right things in place right now, that was what I was talking about before. Is you just want to stay focused when there's a lot of chaos going around. You need to be laser with reference to what you're doing. Right? Don't pay any attention to any of the other stuff, the war that's going on, or any of that stuff. Ukraine, politics, voting, none of it matters. Leave that to the people. You start focusing on what you got to do, and literally pulling the trigger, so that way, between now and the end of the year, you are well on your way. And again, if you're looking at new mechanisms or need some extra support, feel free to give me a call. We can hammer that out beforehand. So, or to get you on the right path. So, all right. Good evening, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see you. Rebecca, what I announced earlier was this call is going to be shifting to Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern. So, okay. So I'm not sure if that's going to work with your schedule or how that works, but also all of the calls I have been recording and they are now available and on YouTube and on the YouTube channel. So if people are missing them, my goal is to start making the content a lot more readily available and a little bit more poignant. So we're gonna beef up our marketing, and this next year is going to be a big year for us. Rebecca, additionally, I'm planning an event down here, a leadership event, an entrepreneurial event, a real estate event, a lot of different elements down here in Cancun, either the second week in December or the first or second week in January to start the year off. I've got a number of extraordinary trainers going to potentially come down. And so if you need a vacation, you want to get some awesome training that'll transform your life forever, put it on your schedule. All right.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm super excited about that. That's something that I've always wanted to do, and the powers that be looks like they're falling into place. So all right. So I've got a few clips. Last week we had talked a bit about again, does anybody have anything else to share before we move forward onto into the content for tonight? All right. So I'm going to shift over to screen share and see what we get here. Screen share. And there we go. Sorry, I'm always a little confused. So with reference to this is the clip that I had referenced last week. Gensler, who is the head of, he's the head of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, who's been creating so much problem for all of us in the with reference to cryptocurrency and how it's just crazy what's been going on. And I had mentioned this last week. He appeared before Congress, and everything he is doing is against us as individuals and as investors, and doing everything to line the pockets of the big banks. So I'm going to play this clip a couple times so you can hear it. But this is him before Congress.
Let me be clear, Chairman Gensler, our patience is wearing thin. Among your expansive rulemaking agenda items, there's not a single initiative aimed at improving access to capital. Your efforts to choke off the digital asset ecosystem, which has created real harm for consumers and our markets, is clear to all. You refuse to be transparent with Congress regarding your interactions with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. Your lack of responsiveness to this committee's legitimate oversight continues to be unacceptable. And you should not want to be the first SEC chair to receive a congressional subpoena.
I'm looking out for the American investors who've been hurt by the crypto.
Mr. Gensler, despite your years of rhetoric like today, I'm convinced you are not an impartial regulator. Instead, it's clear that you are working to consolidate your own power, even though it means crushing opportunities for everyday Americans. It cannot be understated that a common theme throughout your career, sir, is your relentless loyalty to the largest financial institutions at the clear expense of innovation, competition, and everyday Americans.
Let me be clear, Chairman Gensler, our patience is wearing thin. Among your expansive rulemaking agenda items, there's not a single initiative aimed at improving access to capital. Your efforts to choke off the digital asset ecosystem, which has created real harm for consumers and our markets, is clear to all. You refuse to be transparent with Congress regarding your interactions with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. Your lack of responsiveness to this committee's legitimate oversight continues to be unacceptable. And you should not want to be the first SEC chair to receive receive a congressional subpoena.
I'm looking out for the American investors who've been hurt by the crypto.
Mr. Gensler, despite your years of rhetoric like today, I'm convinced you are not an impartial regulator. Instead, it's clear that you are working to consolidate your own power, even though it means crushing opportunities for everyday Americans. It cannot be understated that a common theme throughout your career, sir, is your relentless loyalty to the largest financial institutions at the clear expense of innovation, competition, and everyday Americans.
Wow. That's what's going on, right? And so those of us who have been participating with various different investment platforms, the one in specific, Novatech, SEC went in there and created a whole bunch of problems, and they're still creating problems. Nothing was ever done wrong. And you know, as we saw with XRP, and we'll see with they were trying to control Coinbase, they're trying to control all of the big crypto entities, and just creating a whole bunch of red tape and BS. And so many people have lost money because of what he's been doing. So I don't know if you guys had seen that, but it's really important that that's a lot of what's going on behind the scenes with the current government. Make sense? It's sad, but that's the reality, right? So
I heard today that it sounds like that institutions want to get to be the first ones to get into crypto. They're going to throw a lot of the altcoins off to the side. They got a primary purpose of already probably less than 20 coins and currencies that they're going to implement, and they're actually going to start out with institutions and start all over. That's what I've been hearing.
Yep. And again, so the rich get richer, and the opportunity that you know, we all seek ends up going by the wayside, right? And that's the unfortunate reality of the world we live in, right? And that's why cryptocurrency grew so fast. Was a lot of the foreign countries that don't have natural resource, don't have opportunities, standard opportunities in the marketplace. They, you know, the smaller countries, they took on Bitcoin and were actually able to make money. And if you don't have jobs, if you don't have manufacturing, what do you do? How do you make money? And so a lot of them started trading, and started a lot of the programs that were available allowed them to start generating money, right? And again, when you're in crypto, it's similar to real estate, where you have different mechanisms of where money is generated. You know, there's the appreciation aspect, which is buy low, sell high. Okay, Gensler and the SEC, their issue is, well, it's not really attached to anything, and therefore the whole buy low, the movement in the market, is all speculation. It's not based on any actual performance, right? But the reality is that internationally, tokens are accepted for services rendered. I know in our office, we would gladly take Bitcoin, you know, and we've offered that to a lot of clients, but a lot of them don't know about it, you know. So I do see that as being something in the future. You know, you guys on the line, I mean, if you had the opportunity to accept Bitcoin for services rendered, would you accept it? Right? Absolutely. You know, it's the same. It's better than money. And so what they're saying is that there's another clip I'm going to play for you. And this is again, the mindset. So much of these clips is about understanding the mindset behind what is coming, right? Because you got to be prepared. The most people, because of the transition and the fear of what's going on in the marketplace, their instinct is to, as soon as I've got something, oh, it's going to go down in value. So what do they think to do? To sell, to trade it for fiat, right? Two things happen when you take your cryptocurrency and convert it into fiat. Number one, that's where your tax liability lives. right? Because now it's no longer a digital asset. It's now been shifted to currency, to fiat. So, and that's when the U.S. can and will tax you, right?
Steve,
Yes, sir. Yes, Keith.
so last week I was telling you I tried to purchase some crypto from a decentralized exchange,
Yep.
and the banks flagged my card.
Yep.
So they're trying to be gatekeepers against, people buying crypto.
Yep. Guaranteed. Did
So,
you did
so if I am able to do that, purchase from a decentralized exchange, there's no way that they can tax me, correct?
it depends on which exchange you're using. Some have been flagged and are working with the IRS because they're legitimate companies. Others that are offshore are not necessarily working with the IRS, right? So Coinbase doesn't issue actual tax documents, but they do issue a profit and loss, so that they provide you with enough information so you can file the appropriate tax paperwork, but they're not issuing 1099s themselves. Binance US and crypto.com and what's the other one? Acorns, not Acorns. There's another one that is issuing the 1099s, and if they're issuing 1099s, then it must be included with your taxes. But over the weekend, I was doing another call for for a group that I have been asked to speak with, and there's about 150 people, 150 maybe 200 people on the call, and countless stories exactly like yours, Keith, where they were trying to buy. Now they're trying to buy, and the banks are flagging it. They're trying to set up accounts, all those different things. They're literally stopping the acquisition of crypto. And so the best way that I've found recently is if you utilize Cash App. Cash App does issue 1099s for transactions. Okay. And so with Cash App, what you can do is you set up your account and you send US dollars to Cash App.
That's the way I had to purchase.
Yeah, once it's in Cash App, then you can buy crypto within the Cash App. They have more control. But the banks do not want anybody buying crypto. They are playing gatekeeper, as you had said. So, yeah. Exciting times, but scary times. You have tons of opportunity, but within that opportunity, there's a whole lot of restrictions that are coming our way, unfortunately. So I'm glad I'm outside the United States at this point. I'm learning how to do different mechanisms, right? And but banking is a pain in the ass no matter where you are, right? Because the governments control the banking industries. So let me show you this other clip here. Hold on one second.
Well, before we start on the clip,
Yep.
wanted to let you know that as far as I can tell right now, I mean, to get back into crypto, to make money from crypto, you're going to have to build your own like little hedge fund or an asset manager so you can actually get in and buy crypto under that rule. So you have to get certain licensings to buy crypto, which is basically, I was thinking about doing that, but you have to have SEC licensing to be your own hedge fund manager.
Yeah, I haven't.
That's where it's going.
That unfortunately, correct. Or you start tapping into the ones that are highly regulated, the Coinbases, et cetera. But the SEC, Gensler told Coinbase to only offer Bitcoin, to get rid of all the other altcoins, that they were too risky, they were not good. And Coinbase said, "Are you nuts? That's our business. Our business is and the natural evolution that's taking place within the industry is actually healthy evolution. A lot of them will fall by the wayside, which we understand, but they're clamoring, and the strong will survive. That's what capitalism is all about. finding your niche in the marketplace and providing value in the marketplace. So cool. All right, desktop. So here's another clip that I thought was very interesting, and I'll play this again twice because as you're hearing the information, you got to kind of process it. So this is in regards to I know as we everybody knows Tom Fuhrer. Tom has been stockpiling his XRP, and XRP is believed that it's going to go through the roof. And when it does, how do you deal with that for people who have been hodling? And that's what this clip is about.
In crypto. First of all, if you're holding XRP, XLM, or XDC, or any of the ISO 222 tokens, just don't sell. Selling into dollars is absolutely worthless. The first thing you need to do is to contact an accountant who has worked with high net worth individuals. Have this person on speed dial already before all of this happens. Because when it all happens, your emotions are going to be whelmed. You need to have a number to call. So you will call that accountant and you will tell the accountant, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to an institution like PwC or BlackRock, and I'm going to stake my crypto with them. I want to take between 0 and 20% out right now before I take my crypto to the institution, and I want to use that money to do whatever I want with. Buy a car, put some money in an escrow account for my kids. That's what you'll do with that 0 to 20%. Then with the 80%, I want to go to an institution like PwC, even have a crypto staking service already. And I'm going to call that institution and say, hey, I've got XRP, XLM, and XDC, and I want to stake it with you. What are your rates? It's likely that they'll give you between a 7 and a 15% yield. And doing that will set up your life forever, earning, in this example, about $150,000 a year. Forever. Obviously, $1 million is a very small amount compared to what we're actually looking at. If you're actually holding your crypto until the use case is really rolled out, you do not take all your money and buy a Lambo. You take it to regulated institutions who offer crypto staking services. Here's the first thing you do when you become a millionaire in crypto. First of all, if you're holding XRP, XLM, or XDC, or any of the ISO 222 tokens, just don't sell. Selling into dollars is absolutely worthless. The first thing you need to do is to contact an accountant who has worked with high net worth individuals. Have this person on speed dial already before all of this happens. Because when it all happens, your emotions are going to be whelmed. You need to have a number to call. So you will call that accountant and you will tell the accountant, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to an institution like PwC or BlackRock, and I'm going to stake my crypto with them. I want to take between 0 and 20% out right now before I take my crypto to the institution, and I want to use that money to do whatever I want with. Buy a car, put some money in an escrow account for my kids. That's what you'll do with that 0 to 20%. Then with the 80%, I want to go to an institution like PwC, even have a crypto staking service already. And I'm going to call that institution and say, hey, I've got XRP, XLM, and XDC, and I want to stake it with you. What are your rates? It's likely that they'll give you between a 7 and a 15% yield. And doing that will set up your life forever, earning, in this example, about $150,000 a year. Forever. Obviously, $1 million is a very small amount compared to what we're actually looking at. If you're actually holding your crypto, in this case, is really rolled out. You do not take all your money and buy.
All right. So understand what he was talking about there is because its value is greater if you hold it as crypto, right? If you exchange it back to US dollars, massive tax liabilities. And you don't want to do that. You want to defer your tax liabilities well into the future, right? In perpetuity, potentially. Right, you take out some money when you're in a situation where you have a significant windfall. You take some money out to do what you want to do, manage it, but it's less than 20%, and 10% is a nice reference. And then you enjoy yourself, like he says, get a new car, take a trip, do something with it. But then what he's referencing is now all the big institutions, the BlackRocks, they now are active in the crypto space, where if you recall before, they didn't want to have anything to do with crypto. right? Now they see it as the future, right? So when you're staking it, you're basically it's like taking gold and putting it into a vault. It's not going to be sold. It's just going to be leveraged. Okay. And then they'll pay you roughly 15%. If he said, like as he said, based on $1 million, 15% per year is an easy $150,000 a year. And the average person should be able to live very comfortably on 150 grand a year. Make sense? Right? So that's the scenario in the event that you get yourself into something where you've got a whole bunch of money. And again, I know that Tom Fuhr and his son Josh, that's what they've been working on, is stockpiling while the lawsuit was going on, while nobody could buy XRP, while they knew it was going to be worth a lot, but it was still, super inexpensive in the game. Questions about that? All righty. And I have one
Well,
more.
XRP really hasn't moved that much
Nope, not yet.
because,
Not yet.
yeah, because it was only 25 cents. Now it's 55. So it really hasn't moved that much.
No, it was expected to, once the announcement was made, it was expected to go much quicker. But, at the end of the day, none of this stuff does what they expect it to do, right? Because the market determines it. I hate seeing hype driving the market, right? Because what happens is it goes up and then a whole bunch of people sell and it goes down immediately. I would much rather see the slow and steady growth as it's adopted, as the industry evolves. It's better if it just grows slow and steady, nice 10, 15% per year, 20% per year. It becomes like the S&P of the crypto space, right? So that's XRP and XLM. So this last clip I'm going to play for you guys. No, actually, there's two clips. One is they recently reduced the amount of down payment for triplexes and fourplexes, right? Used to be 10, 15, 20, 25% for conventional loans. It's now been reduced to 5%. Okay. Why is this important? Is if you don't have a house or if you want to be in the real estate market, you are much better off looking at alternate markets and finding yourself a triplex or a fourplex, making that your primary residence. Right? You make it as your primary residence and you live there for at least a year, if not 2 years. And that way, all of the money that comes from it, capital gains, can be tax-free because it was your primary residence if you ever sell, right? The value with having a triplex or a fourplex is all of the rents from the other units count towards your qualification, so you don't have to have as much money coming in because the property generates money, and that counts as part of the down payment process as well as the qualifying income process, right? So it's going to be much easier. But the only challenge for you, depending upon where you live, is you may need to relocate. You may need to move to another state or another city where properties are much more affordable. I'm speaking to those in California, because California's marketplace is artificially inflated and not healthy at all, right? The growth has already taken place. But if you're comfortable moving to, the outskirts of Arizona, places in Nevada, Tennessee, Texas, Oklahoma, certain parts of Florida, not Miami, but or Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. One of my clients who within the last year moved to South Carolina, They're doing exceptionally well. They were struggling in California. They moved, they took the family and they moved out there. They finally bought a house. They're doing really, really well. And sometimes that's the type of stuff you got to do, right? You got to take a look at your surroundings and then go, why am I here? Does this make sense? So let me play this clip for you so you can understand, again, some of the moving parts. My goal within all the stuff that I share with you is not to give you all the answers, but to give you enough information so you can start going down the path so that you're aware and you can start saying, oh, wow, what if, I really want to buy a house here. Now call up a realtor and say, hey, I'm looking at buying a triplex or a fourplex. What's available in the marketplace? Contact a lender. Hey, I'm looking to buy, and you start going down that process. It's never going to happen unless you initiate it with phone calls and action.
Massive news. If you are looking to be a house hacker, want to buy a 2 to 3, 4 unit property on your first deal, a big thing just dropped today. Fannie Mae conventional loans no longer require higher down payments for 2 and 3 to 4 unit properties. They still only require 95% down, only 5% down out of pocket to do these loans if you're looking to be a house hacker and buy a multifamily property. Previously, this was only reserved for FHA loans. You now can buy multifamily properties with conventional and only put 5% down. But what does this mean for you? Conventional loans have a lot more flexibility. They're a little more accepted on the seller side, and you're not going to pay as high mortgage insurance. There's just a lot of fringe benefits. I'm going to be posting more about this. If you want to learn more about this, go ahead and type conventional down in the comments. I will DM you a video, what I will be putting up in YouTube either later today or first thing tomorrow when it comes out, so I can give you more information on how you can capitalize on this info. This is big.
Got it? So it's information, right? I know all of you want to own your homes. Yeah, I know the majority of you guys, are in a position where you'd like to be living in your own home, right? And so now's the time to take action when it comes to that, right? And the last clip I'm going to share with you, I saw this and I was blown away. My spiritual heart, my pursuits are always towards the miraculous. And I had never heard this story, and it was inspirational. Any questions about anything that's been shared thus far tonight? Any questions about the real estate? Questions about crypto? Questions about banking? Questions about what to do in a windfall, right? Getting your tax structure in place is of critical importance. Getting life insurance that you can leverage in place is important. That's one of the discoveries that I found recently is, oftentimes it's a struggle to try and get the amount of money that you need for a down payment or to be able to invest or to be able to do things. By utilizing life insurance, you can leverage the death benefits. And I'm helping a young husband and wife. They're 28 years old, and for $12,000, they're implementing a life insurance policy, and they're going to have access to $144,000 that they can borrow against almost immediately, or but theirs will be about $130,000 that they'll have access to almost immediately, that they are then going to roll forward and start buying real estate. Okay. You see that mechanism? You see how that works? $12,000. Again, if you're older, they're younger, so they get maximum benefits. But if you're a little bit older, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60, somewhere in that range, you can get access to probably about $70,000 to $80,000 for the same $12,000. So, all right. If that is of interest to you, reach out to me so we can put together illustrations for you so you can see the way the policy would work for someone in your specific circumstances. All right. You ready for a little spiritual holy shit? listen to this, guys. Okay. Where are we?
You heard of the mystery of the Loretto Chapel? No, this is the craziest story. So they were building this chapel in New Mexico. The French architect who was building this chapel all of a sudden died. He did not complete the staircase to the choir loft. The sisters of the Loretto Chapel, they prayed to Saint Joseph that someone is sent to build these stairs. At the end of the 9 days of prayer, this man comes in from across the desert riding a donkey, walks into the church, and he says, "I was sent here to build stairs." Stop it! Listen, he built these stairs in 3 months and just dipped. The sisters like, well, we didn't pay him. So the sisters went to the lumberyard and said, do we owe you anything? They said, this man never came and got wood for us. Oh my goodness. And there's not a single nail used on this staircase. What? That is such a wild story. The curator of this chapel, he brought in over 120 experts. They said, we don't know how to do that. These sisters believe Joseph himself came because he was a carpenter. You heard of the mystery of the Loretto Chapel?
Isn't that a trip? Right. I'm not familiar with where it is in New Mexico, but certainly got my attention. So. All right. Hey, Robert Collins, how are you, man? Long time no see. Can you speak, brother?
Doing okay. Doing okay. For some reason, my phone is not getting a lot of good sound. So I just have it to my ears, struggling to hear.
Don't struggle. Don't struggle.
But it's good to be back. Good to be back. Great. Good call tonight. Good call.
Yeah, I got a lot of really good stuff I need to talk to you about personally. So, all right. Again, I don't have you know, a lot of the content that I have, you know, for the call is designed to inspire you guys and have you guys bring stuff to the table to discuss. If we are, if everybody is satisfied and doesn't have anything to share, then we will bring the call to a close early tonight, right? But again, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific is the new time for the call. And we will not have a call this week, but I will be promoting next week. I'll start sending off notices. I'm going to put together an email campaign prior to Monday so that way people know. And we'll see if we can't get our numbers up. I'm gonna go into a promotional campaign as well to get a whole new group of people. Again, I have new businesses, new business opportunities, new things that are in the mix. And I invite you all to, if you are not actively making money with what you are currently pursuing, maybe it's time to try something different. Again, there's a new coffee company that a friend of mine that I know personally, and there's a ton of money in the compensation plan. So he's initiated it with a personal vendetta against the network marketing industry to make sure that everybody is making money. As long as they want to make money, they can, and it's very lucrative. So you get $100 right away just for signing up for the most part. So, all right, reach out to me if that is of interest to you. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all a week Thursday. All righty.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.